A little while ago, I played through my first Nuzlocke, a run through SoulSilver. And as you might expect from the world's greatest gamer, I ended up beating it on my first try thanks to heroes like Void, the Typhlosion, and Chuck Nasty, the Gyarados. But the world of Pokemon is a big one, and I've only conquered a little piece of it. So that's why I decided to go to a brand new region. And by a new region, I actually mean the oldest one, Kanto. This time, I'll be playing Pokemon FireRed, and I'll be trying to do exactly what I did in Johto. Get through the hardcore Nuzlocke in just one attempt. I wake up in Pallet Town and head over to Professor Oak's lab. For my starter, I decided to take Squirtle. We'll call him Void. Let's go, Void. Why Squirtle? I'll let past Void explain. I think Bulbasaur is kinda ass, and I think Charmander's cool, but he's so cool that I just don't want him to get hurt right now. So we're gonna go with Squirtle, and this has nothing to do with fighting Brock or Misty at all. After a close call with my first fight against my rival, Zekin, he's a gamer. What do you expect? It was time to head out into the world of Kanto and start building my team. A lot of people say Kanto. Maybe I just say Kanto for the video. I'm a Kantoer. It was time to head out into the world of Kanto. Options are pretty limited in these early routes. Before the second rival encounter outside Victory Road, I grabbed two Pokemon, Ben the Pidgey, who nearly killed Void in the process, and Strides the Mankey. Strides is an awesome find here, as it'll be really nice to have a fighting type for Brock in his Rock Gym. Oh yeah, the rules. Because this is a hardcore Nuzlocke, I can only catch the first Pokemon in every route. I play in set mode, so I can't switch my Pokemon out after beating an opposing Pokemon. I can't use any healing items in battle, and if any of my Pokemon faint, they're dead. Forever. It makes every battle so much more intense and forces me to be on my toes against every single trainer. The scariest thing in my second battle with Zekin is sand in the eye! Ha! Accuracy drops are a really threatening loss condition, especially in the early game where sand attack is actually sort of common to see from enemy trainers. Zekin's Pidgey was actually putting in work. Void went into the red and I had to keep him safe, so I switched out to Ben, and he absolutely dominated Zekin's team. It has a great matchup into Zekin's Bulbasaur, and with his starter covered, I was never really in trouble. On the way to Brock, I'm able to fill up my team with two more catches, Rattata and Weedle. It's hard to see these two lasting too long on my team. That said, weak Pokemon that evolve to their final forms early can actually be pretty useful for the early game, so I'll do my best to make them count. After a leisurely stroll through Viridian Forest, I make it to Pewter City and it's time for Brock. Well, first I have to get past this guy who doesn't even seem to know where he is. So close, but that's not a rock. No matter, Stride still got the job done, which means it's Brock time. Let's check in with Past Void again. I think Void just clean sweeps, and Past Void nailed it. Void swept cleanly. Let's go Void and Past Void. Next, I hiked through Mount Moon on the way to Misty and Cerulean City, which meant a bunch more encounters. I grabbed the Spearow on Route 3, bought the Magikarp from the dude in the Pokemon Center by Mount Moon, and caught a Zubat inside. This team is suddenly looking really weak to electric types right now. Surely that won't be a problem later on. Future Void will have to deal with that, but for now, I keep pushing through Mount Moon. I take the Helix fossil, praise Helix, but the fossil Pokemon definitely won't be used in this run. I stop by the move tutors outside Mount Moon and slap Mega Punch on Strides and Mega Kick on Void. Yeah, it's only 75% accurate, but I can't pass up that juicy 120 base power on Mega Kick. In Cerulean City, Zekin's back, but his team's nothing I can't handle. The only scary part was when Ben got slept against his Bulbasaur. But he woke up quickly, and his gust was too much for the poor Bulbasaur to handle, and I sent Zekin packing once again. Here I have a choice. Go fight Misty now, or fight the Nugget Bridge trainers and get an extra encounter before I take on the gym. I was a little worried about my experience routing at this point, but I decided to go through Nugget Bridge. Team Rocket's offer at the end was pretty enticing, and I had to think pretty hard about it, but I'm not ready for a life of crime just yet. Instead, I went for that encounter I earned, and...
There's no way in the world I don't get this. 1, 2, 3...
Brutal. I can't even evolve Kadabra into Alakazam because I don't have a way to trade it, but even Kadabra is really strong when it comes to Kanto. Alakazam only has 15 more special attack than Kadabra, so those psychics will hurt. This thing basically beats Koga and Agatha by itself. Or it would have. We gotta move on. After saving Bill from... whatever it is he was doing in there, it's time to plan for Misty. One rule I didn't mention earlier, I'm playing with a level cap. That means I can't level up my team any higher than the next gym leader's ace. That's why I really wanted to find an oddish in that patch of grass where I missed the Abra. I'm really not sure what I have that can deal with Misty's Starmie, a monster with base stats way higher than anything I have access to right now. There's also a risk of hacks in this fight. Both of Misty's Pokemon carry Water Pulse. If that wasn't the case, my play would be pretty obvious. Use Void to resist Misty's attacks and win with his super effective bite into the part Psychic Starmie. But Water Pulse has a 20% confusion chance, and that looks to me like the clearest way I can lose this fight. I decided my best plan was to go through the freshly evolved Raticate. Hyper Fang hits really hard, and it also has access to the move Scary Face, which can lower Starmie's speed and give me a chance to outrun it with Void. As good as Hyper Fang is, it has one big problem: 90% accuracy. I have to pray we get through the Staryu with no issues, and Raticate comes through. Part 1 of Plan A goes perfectly. Now for Part 2. Ah! Come on, Zodiac! No! Plan A is out the window. Plan B, Void can actually tank pretty well. I think we just go into Void. Fuck it, let's go Void. One thing I learned from my last Nuzlocke was how important it is to bring sacrifices to these difficult fights. Ekans, time to do your job. Void came in to start biting, but I also had to get through a Super Potion. I high rolled the bite after the Super Potion, leaving Starmie one hit away. But am I really willing to risk Void to a crit here? No, absolutely not. Tell them why, Pass Void. Beedrill can live a Swift and a Water Pulse no matter what. I think we switch to Beedrill and we take the gambles with Beedrill. This is the peak of Beedrill. I don't think Beedrill gets any better than right now. It paid off. Beedrill was able to tank the hit and take out the Starmie, and I earned my second gym badge. Big W, big W. I'm glad I brought him on to sack. One mistake I made a lot on my first Nuzlocke is I had to sack my own Mons that didn't have use in the current battle. On the way to Vermilion, I picked up a very useful Oddish and a much less useful Meowth. Zekin gave me absolutely no trouble in the SSN. I got cut from the captain and dipped back to Vermilion City. Alright, Future Void, time to deal with that problem we talked about earlier. Next is Lieutenant Surge's gym, and this team gets absolutely murdered by electric type attacks. Most of my best Pokemon, Void, Ben, and Bennis, were weak to electric attacks. To make matters worse, this gym is littered with Magnemites, which adds another poor type matchup to my team in Steel. I didn't have any fire or ground types yet, and my only fighting type, Mankey, only had really weak fighting moves available to it. Well, Future Void is here to tell you that's no problem. We'll just head into Diglett's cave and... oh no. Remember that whole level cap rule? That's about to hit me hard, because this Doug Trio is level 29. Surge's ace, his Raichu, level 24. Not even close. All of a sudden, one of the easiest gyms in FireRed just turned into one of the hardest. Even this Voltorb can be really annoying, as my team is low enough level that Sonic Boom's consistent 20 damage will actually leave a mark. And then there's the Raichu. With no easy way to one-shot it, I have to worry about both its powerful shockwaves and a Nuzlocker's worst nightmare: double team spam. I'm basically going to be going in with a Gloom and a Dream. Oh, the Doug Trio spawn rate in Diglett's cave, by the way? A big whopping 5%. I don't expect Surge's first two to be much of a problem, but Raichu? My plan is to use Gloom to paralyze it with Stun Spore and hope I can at least outspeed it. Then, I guess I just pray. I said Beedrill was peaking in the Misty fight. Well, it's definitely peaking now. I used it to drop Surge's first two Pokemon, and then Gloom managed to hit the Stun Spore. Surge used his full heal, but I got the paralysis reapplied pretty quickly. My best damage clearly came from Raticate, so I tried to get him in, but he got paralyzed, and I could see everything collapsing before me. I tried to break through with Beedrill's Twin Needles, but I couldn't even hit. I tried to go Gloom, but it went down. I only saw one way out. Raticate has to hit a dig while paralyzed against Raichu with maxed out evasion, meaning it only has a 33% chance of hitting. Actually, accounting for having to get through both dig turns without getting paralyzed, it's actually just an 18.75% chance. But I didn't have a choice. I sent it. This is the end. This is the end. Unless... Zodiac, you've been paralyzed for 4 straight turns! Then why wasn't I getting this earlier? Why wasn't I getting this earlier? Now that my entire Oh! Let's go! Holy shit. Now that's the world's greatest difference. The team took some real damage here, but honestly, the run's in surprisingly good shape despite how close I just came to a wipe. I felt like I still had a pretty good shot at finishing this run, especially now that I actually get to use that stupid Duck Trio. This is where we get into the non-linear part of the game. I can take my pick of 3 gyms to take down from here: Erica, Sabrina, and Koga, but there's also a bunch of story progress to do. I decided to head to Celadon, where I could take out Erica and the Rocket hideout in the game corner all in one go. On the way, I grabbed the real Gyarados, one that I caught, and then I caught Mr. Hong, the Drowsy, a much needed psychic type after I lost out on the Abra all the way back in Cerulean. But not everything was sunshine and lollipops. As I was grinding my way through Rock Tunnel, I forgot about the way magnitude works and clicked Dig with Zodiac, thinking he would be safe from the attack. Oh well. Past Void was really feeling that loss. I did get a great replacement not long after in Elusive the Growlithe, so it's not all bad. My reward for getting through Surge with a team that was not built for him at all was a ridiculously easy fight against Erica. With my flying types and Beedrill, who is peaking for real this time. I mean it. Erica never stood a chance. I ran over the Rockets and Rocket hideout, including Giovanni, whose team is insanely weak to Void and Gyarados. Finally, I had some momentum and I rode it for a while. Lavender Tower? No problem. Cycling Road? No problem. Fighting Dojo? No problem. With newcomers Snorlax and Hitmonlee on the board, I headed into Silphco, which has 2 major fights. Our next match against Zekin and another round against Giovanni. Void kinda cleans up in both of these fights. The only thing he fears on either team is Zekin's Venusaur, but that's not a problem now that I have this extremely good boy on my team. Both fights were clean, but I did have to use more than just Void in round 2 against Giovanni. Hypno and Snorlax also showed their value. Hypno shredded Giovanni's poison types, and Snorlax was able to sit on the rest of the team with its bulk and use Brick Break to destroy his rock types. Past Void was not exactly impressed with the guy who's supposed to be Kanto's toughest mob boss. That opened the door for us to finally get back on the gym grind. First up, Sabrina. I got spooked by one of her gym trainers who threw out a Ghastly. I thought I was in a psychic gym! And this thing had one of the scariest moves you can see in a Nuzlocke: Destiny Bond. I was ready with an answer though. Snorlax's Yawn. Snorlax was also incredibly useful against Sabrina herself. Of course he was. He's a special tank who can hit these Pokemon hard with normal type attacks. But actually, one of the biggest ways Snorlax helped in this fight was with Brick Break. Sure, Sabrina's Pokemon resisted it, but Alakazam's Reflect was useless because of it. Between Snorlax, Gyarados, and my own Psychic type in Hypno, I had Sabrina's team very well covered. Because I had cleaned up a bunch of the trainer battles already, it took hardly any time for me to get from Sabrina to Koga. Because I had one single Psychic type on my team, there was basically no way for this fight to go wrong. Muck got off a Minimize, which made me remember the double team nonsense from the Surge fight, but that's as scary as it got. Hypno swept, and that was 6 gym badges down. I finished off the chores I had left to do in Fuchsia City, and picked up Surf and Strength. Not only did these allow me to progress the game, they also finally turned my Gyarados into a real Pokemon. Gyarados' moveset is pretty terrible back in the generations before the physical special split, like Gen 3. All water-type moves are special in these games, which means Gyarados' water moves swing from its base 60 special attack instead of its awesome base 125 physical attack. So yeah, you might have thought I was excited to teach it Surf. Surf is fine on Gyarados, mostly because Surf is a really good move. But no, the big deal was being able to teach Strength, an 80 base power physical move that would finally let my Gyarados do meaningful physical damage. With that, I'm pretty confident that I won't have to worry about anything until the Elite Four. I was already thinking about how I was going to fight them. Gyarados powered me through the Heart Gold run and was poised to do the same in this run. There were still a few Pokemon that presented problems to my team as it was constructed. Lorelei's Slowbro, an unbreakable wall that can stack up amnesias, her Jinx, which can hacks you in a bunch of different ways, and Lance's Aerodactyl, which can click Ancient Power and ruin your run with one Omni Boost. As I speedran through badges 7 and 8, I was keeping my eyes peeled for any encounters that could could help me deal with those monsters. The two remaining gym leaders, Blaine and Giovanni, absolutely folded to my water types. Void alone swept Blaine, and the Giovanni fight went just as easily as the other three before it. This game, well, maybe it's because I'm a lot more confident in like gyms, but I feel like I have a really good team. I feel like I have a good grasp of, like, I brought sack Pokemons. Honestly though, I'm a little confused about Giovanni's priorities. He brought stronger Pokemon when I was challenging his gym than when I was trying to stop his plot for world domination. My man has got to get his priorities straight. As well as all of that went, I haven't really gotten anything that patches up those Elite Four weaknesses I brought up earlier. So I took a detour over to the power plant, where I got a pretty solid addition for the Lorelei fight, Magneton. This might have been the most convenient electric type for me to add. Its steel type gives a nice resistance to ice and could give me a nice way to hit her Jinx, her one non-water type. Before dealing with Lorelei though, I had to get through Zekin again. Blastoise still matches up really well into his team, but Zekin came to play this time. He gave me more trouble than back in Silph Co or Lavender Tower. But here, I was able to flex a little bit of what I learned in my last Nuzlocke. A big part of managing difficult fights isn't just taking out opposing Pokemon, it's making sure you have the correct Pokemon on your side for their incoming switch. I played really carefully in this fight, making sure I had good answers to Zekin's scariest Mon, Alakazam, whenever I took a KO. And it paid off. The fight took a while, but I made smart switches and got through it without losing a single Pokemon. What's credits, you need more practice. What a line to say after losing. I headed to Victory Road, really hoping to get one last good encounter before heading to the Elite Four. With that, my team for the Elite Four was decided. Void 2, the Blastoise, the starter who has been solid all run. Elusive, the Arcanine, the Venusaur answer. Mr. Hong, the Hypno, the requisite Psychic type. Gur, the Gyarados, the Dragon Dance Sweeper, now with Earthquake to deal huge damage. 7th Star, the Snorlax, our reliable tank with a hell of a body slam. And finally, 8th, the Magneton, who will really have to carry some weight against Lorelei. I knew this fight was going to be a grind going in. My team doesn't deal with bulky water types very well, and Lorelei has all of the bulkiest water types. Lapras, Cloyster, Dugong, and the scariest one, Slowbro. I grinded through Lorelei's first two Mons, Dugong and Cloyster. It took a while, but Snorlax's bulk and access to rest let it just sit on the field. I even managed to get through the Slowbro, which I thought was going to be the final boss of this fight. If that thing managed to stack amnesias, there'd be almost no way for my team to actually kill it. All my super effective moves into the Water Psychic combination are special. I decided to go to Void, which walls the bro and can deal super effective damage with Bite. I got a flinch, setting up a clean 3-hit KO against one of the Pokemon I was most afraid of. Slowbro yawns, and I decided to let Void take the KO before falling asleep on the next turn. Let's go, Void. Just 2 Pokemon remained, and it was looking good. I was past the one I thought was the scariest. I've taken down some incredible opponents in my gaming career. I've taken down world #1s. I've taken down pros in games I'd barely ever touched. There isn't much I fear when it comes to gaming, but that thing, it scares me. I still had my whole team left against Lorelei's final 2. Sure, Void was taking a nap, but I felt like I was in a pretty good spot. And then, I asked a question that was just tempting fate. Does Ice Punch have freeze chance? That was the end of Hypno in this battle, but if that was the only bit of hacks in this fight, I wouldn't be complaining. Honestly, I don't think I can do it justice with words. Just watch. Oh, that's no fun. Maybe we try to get a yawn off? Come on, 7th. No. Come on, 7th. Oh no. You die to a crit. Alright, here's the potential game changer. 1, this Surf might kill me. 2 Sparks might kill, but I don't know if I live a Surf. And it has a Citrus Berry. Yeah, oh my god, it's faster than me. This is tragic. Looks like GG. I don't agree yet. Let's also see how much this Surf does. Surf isn't gonna do a lot. It body slammed? Oh, it just saw a KO on anything. You're fucking shitting me. And it confused Raid. I think Gur wins. That did a lot of damage. Dude, this is insane! Alright, come on, Void. I went for one last Hail Mary, hoping I could bite flinch my way through. but that was nothing but desperation. The RNG saw how well my run was going and simply said, no, it ends here. It was a tragic way for the run to end. I felt like I had learned a lot, and it was showing in this run. I improvised my way through a weirdly difficult surge fight. I was incorporating new strategies like bringing sacrificed Pokemon to fight. I blazed through the second half of the game like it was nothing. Even though I came away from this run empty-handed, there's a lot to be positive about here. But after the way it ended, you know that I needed that run back. This time, it's Bulbasaur's turn to shine. It's great for the first 2 gyms, and I had no trouble with either Brock or Misty this time around. And when I encountered a Diglett I could actually use, I was sure Surge would be free thanks to the power of Nakat. Between him and Lenny the Geodude, I had 2 ground types to take on this gym. Easy money.
Okay, this gym is kind of getting destroyed.
The only thing, I could get hit by 2 Sonic Booms. I was so confident, I didn't even bother to heal. Lenny cleared the Voltorb with a magnitude 7. Pikachu got off a double team, but it dealt all of 1 damage before Lenny took it down with another magnitude. Raichu was where things went off the rails last time. This time, Lenny is an absolute wall. Lenny could have missed 5 more times and been safe here, but he didn't. This is the guy who gave me like infinite trouble on my last Nuzlocke. Lost to 1 move on 1 guy at not even full HP. That's insane. With a clean Surge fight behind me, I know nothing stands between me and my rematch with the Elite Four. My rival Chuck got one of my Pokemon, Sokoboff the Ekans, in Lavender Tower thanks to an unfortunate critical hit. But it did its job, intimidating Chuck's Gyarados to the point of uselessness and allowing me to get through the fight with no other casualties, despite a couple of close calls. But other than that, it was smooth sailing. Erica was easy thanks to the surprise MVP, Gyarados. With new additions to the team like Snorlax and Kadabra, Chuck folded to me in our next battle at Silphco. Giovanni was even easier. Yeah, this Giovanni is really bad. The next scary moment came in Sabrina's gym in Saffron City. Snorlax swept most of Sabrina's team, and then Lapras came in to finish off her Venomoth. Lapras was also my secret weapon for dealing with Sabrina's nasty Alakazam. I gave it Perish Song, a move that takes out all Pokemon who hear it in 3 turns. I clicked Perish Song, but Alakazam used Calm Mind. I only had to make it through 3 turns, but it was a terrifying 3 turns. Nakat had to get sacrificed for the cause, and thankfully my Hypno was able to withstand an attack before the Perish Song took down Alakazam. You know, it was pretty hard to say goodbye to Nakat, but all in all, that was flawless execution of my Perish strategy. With just 2 badges left, I'm already looking forward to that rematch. Alright guys, in your opinion, who's the scariest thing in the rest of the run? I have a little bit of bias. I think that Lapras is a demon. My own Lapras and Gyarados rolled over Blaine and Giovanni. Just like that, it was time to steel myself and prepare for the rematch with Lorelei. Alright, we made it to the Elite Four again. With the preparation complete, the Hypno Show was ready to get on the road. The supporting cast included Snorlax, Gyarados, and Lapras, who got us through the second half of the game. And then, I have a couple of secret weapons. You'll see. Lance's Gyarados is a beast, and the Agatha fight can turn into a trip to the game corner quicker than I'd like. But I was pretty sure it was all going to come down to the Lorelei fight, the same one that ended my last run. Her team is insanely bulky, and, as I found out last time, the fight can snowball in a hurry. Despite Snorlax getting put to sleep, I got through Dugong just fine. I was really worried about Cloyster before the battle, but Hypno's Psychics shredded its terrible special defense with no problem. Lapras already. This isn't good. Or is it? Full restores turned this mirror match into a grind, but my Lapras was able to body slam its way past Lorelei's. And then we body slam, body slam, body slam, body slam. Let's go. As good as things were looking though, I couldn't be comfortable until our last Pokemon went down. There it was. The Jinx that ended my last run on the freeze to end all freezes. Jinx was winding up an Ice Punch. Was this run going to go out the same way my last one did? I'd been saving a move slot on my Lapras for a very long time, all just for this one moment. I'd spent the entire Lorelei fight taking care to make sure that Safeguard was active whenever I was at risk of taking a hit from a move with a freeze chance. Safeguard blocks any status conditions from hitting my side of the field for 5 turns, and I had timed Jinx's entrance perfectly. Gyarados was healthy enough to take the damage with ease. After a couple of Earthquakes, I'd won my run back without losing a single Pokemon. Next was Bruno, and as expected, he didn't put up much resistance. Gyarados was sweeping, and there was only one problem. It ate 3 rock tombs, and with the speed drops adding up, I had to switch out against the final Onix. I was kind of worried, but I forgot that Onix is bad. Lapras shrugged off its Double Edge and Earthquake, one-shot it with Surf, and it was on to Agatha. This was supposed to be the headline act of the Hypno show. Instead, it barely missed the KO against the first Gengar, and things got weird right away from there. Gengar double teamed, and although it didn't spiral out of control, Hypno took too much damage. It nearly died from Golbat's bite, and worse, it flinched. All of a sudden, I was on the back foot. Cheeks? Yeah, Hypno didn't do that great. Okay, but Snorlax can clean up this mess for sure, right? Not if the RNG has anything to say about it. Imagine I get poisoned too. Go. Get past these turns. I had to bust out one of my secret weapons early, Dave the Electrode, who's primarily here to deal with Lance's Gyarados in the next room. But he came in clutch here, taking out this annoying Golbat before making way for Gyarados and Lapras to sweep the rest of the fight. It's scary to go on without Snorlax, but I still think I have everything I need to take out Lance. Chuck though? Well, I'll figure that out when we get there. Like I said, this is the real reason Dave's on the team. Gyarados goes down, and Lapras gets me through the first Dragonair. But things get really scary against the Aerodactyl, as I have to dodge a Nuzlocker's worst nightmare, Ancient Power Boost. Uh-oh. No boost! No boost! I was still in a rough spot, slower than Aerodactyl. I'd have to dodge the boosts again. Dave was once again clutch in an unexpected situation, dodging the boosts and KOing with Spark to get us to the Dragonite. I figured a switch to Gyarados to get an Intimidate down would be pretty safe and give me a way to get Lapras in to deal the finishing blow with Ice Beam. What's my best? Does it resist? Flying doesn't resist. Oh my god! So much for my Intimidate. Now I have to improvise. And unfortunately, I couldn't find a way out of here that didn't involve a sacrifice. I had to think hard about this one. There were plenty of ways for me to get through this fight, but I had to worry about Chuck, too. In the end, it had to be Hypno. After his performance in the Agatha fight, it honestly earned this fate. The sacrifice was not in vain, as Dragonite hit itself in post-outreach confusion, and Lapras was able to land the Ice Beam to send us to Chuck. I hate to admit it, but you are a Pokemon Master. See guys? Lance knows I'm a Pokemon Master. There's one more trainer to face. His name is Chuck! When deciding who to sacrifice to the Dragonite, I knew I had to keep Dave alive at all costs. There's yet another Gyarados in this fight, one that's even scarier than Lance's. It'll hurt not to have a Psychic type here, but I think it was the right call. I'm asking a lot for my water types, but I believe in Gyarados and Lapras. And Dodrio, I guess, even though he hasn't done anything yet. It's 4 on 6, but I've beaten far worse odds in the past. Let's do this. Lapras has great matchups into Chuck's first 2 Pokemon. Ice Beam handled the Pidgeot with a critical hit, and a 4-time super effective Surf swept right on away. Even odds. But this Executor is scary, and not because of its offense. I'm actually really worried about Sleep Powder, so I'm just gonna Safeguard. I think Safeguard... You've seen this Dodrio on this team for the whole Elite Four run. You might be wondering why it's here, if it'll ever pull its weight. Well, now it's time. I can finally, for the first time ever, use Drill Peck. Uh-oh. Yes! Let's go! Dodrio kept coming up just short of killing the Alakazam, but it was still doing a very important job, taking out Chuck's many full restores. Now I see how he got through the Elite Four so fast. Not very hardcore of you, Chuck. I had so many chances for a critical hit, but eventually, Chuck ran out of items and put Dodrio out of its misery. But it turns out, Dave wasn't just here for the Gyaradoses after all. Low-key Dave sweep? Hold up. Okay, I high-key think we still switch in Justy. I think we still switch in Justy. I want to use Explosion on Charizard, but I got intimidated. Explosion ignores defense, but it doesn't ignore attack drops, right? You know what? Fuck it. You had one more heal? Chuck, where are you hoarding all of these? All right. There's a high chance I die here. Spark's not gonna kill. I might die, but Spark isn't gonna kill. Alright, can I get some salutes, ladies and gentlemen, for your boy, leading us all the way to the promised land. Kinda anticlimactic, Dave, but it's okay. You were still a hero. Gyarados was able to shrug off a Fire Blast from the Charizard, clean it up with a Surf, and with that, I'd done it. A successful Nuzlocke of Pokémon FireRed. Nice! We got our revenge. We got our revenge. No, that can't be. We made it past the FireRed and Leaf Green Nuzlocke. That's good. A come of age? What? You understand that your victory was not just your own doing. Some of you may die. Congratulations, Big Void. You and your Pokemon are Hall of Famers. Nice. Dude, let's check out the Hall of Fame. Let's see who made it to the end. Justy the Lapras, honestly the real carry. Moonbeam, you did your job. Rest in peace, Cry, level 55. Dave, level 6. Oh. Euless, the GOAT. Hypno, you let me down. I can't believe that Dave exploded and he did not even win.